In today's video, we're going to be discussing the September development blog for Halo the Master Chief Collection on both PC and Xbox One. This is going to include features such as crossplay, input-based matchmaking, and of course, a sneak peek and design iteration on Halo 4 and Season 4 coming to the MCC. So stick around. Now, the following information can be found over at HaloWaypoint.com, and I will put the link in the description in case you guys are interested in reading the full development update, as I'm only pulling out what I feel are the most important parts. Now, to start off, we're going to take a look at the design discussion, which, of course, is always an interview between the blogger here and a developer. So we're going to go ahead and take a look here. It starts off with Halo 3 ODST out, and now with Season 3 in full swing, players are loving all the new Halo 3 content and pretty much unanimously want more of it. That is true. Players have been vocal about wanting more vehicle skins, like Halo Combat Evolved received along with additional weapon skins, and we have seen this as a hot topic across the community since Season 3's release. And the reason for that being is that Season 3 launched half of what all the other previous seasons have. That's why people are asking for more. Me personally, I would like to see more weapon customization skins for the SMG, rocket launcher, sniper rifle, shotgun, pretty much everything, that was included with Combat Evolved's customization. I would also, and I'm hoping that they will do this, I've been talking to other people and they want it too, give us the hot pink Scorpion tank skin named Sheila, please. Moving on, Max answers, the short answer is yes, we do. We are looking at where and when we can deliver it in categories that have already been delivered for skins and where we can introduce new categories of customization, meaning what sort of customization can we add beyond what we have already done. Now, part of the reason why I feel that they kind of only halved Season 3 was so that they could put out more later in a future season and call it something else. I feel moving forward, that's probably what we're going to see are the 5 tabs of items with tiers in them that we can unlock things in instead of getting the full 10 right away, so that they can kind of drip feed it out across a period of time so that there's always something to unlock. Moving on, the article says there are some additional areas we are exploring, so investigations are definitely underway and we're coming out with a lot of ideas, including looking at unreleased content, but we are unsure of the technical feasibility of bringing that work into the MCC, and then they have redacted armor pieces. We're excited to see and keep some of the redacted stuff close to our chest as we figured out just how realistic it is. They don't want to overpromise stuff, which is good, but they're definitely taking a look at things that they can do. And then, of course, he agrees here that they can make redacted happen. A lot of players would really like that. Moving along, the feedback that they've been seeing that relates to the Halo 3 Acrophobia skull is there additional skulls that could come over from ODST to either campaign or firefight. And Dana here, one of the developers, says that they have seen that people have cleverly figured out that the Acrophobia skull is hooked up to the other engines in the game as well, but just not fully enabled. You can get the Acrophobia skull activated in other Halo games, but you have to do it with the modding. And they talked about how for ODST they prototyped another new skull, but it didn't quite get in a place they were happy with, and they hope that they can circle back to it in the future, which again, I'm sure they will. Regarding the new Firefight skulls, the answer is largely the same. When developing ODST Firefight, the game variant support, they were careful to build a foundation that would support future additions without breaking compatibility with existing variants, so that's good. They move on to discuss Halo 4. It says, we'll continue to keep a close eye on feedback across the community and be sure to let you know what they hear next. They were hoping to discuss future seasons and features as Halo 4 approaches. We've got a lot of new content and features on the horizon. Last month, they talked a little bit about Season 4 and teased some new things and new content for Halo Reach. And this, to me, of course, is really cool. New content, free content is always welcome. The acceptance, or I should say the reception, that I've seen with players in the Halo community with the GRD helmet, which was shown off by Bungie, but for some reason, who knows, maybe it didn't fit the lore for the game that they felt, I don't know. They didn't actually include it in the game, and this is something that they're going to be adding in for Season 4, is some unlockable things with Halo Reach. And moving on, they also talk about a chess piece that had been cut from the game. Now, I distinctly remember this chest piece being in the beta. When Bungie ran the beta in May of 2010, I specifically remember having this on my Spartan. Now, at the time, I didn't have any way to capture footage, and of course, the saved films from that are long gone. But I do distinctly remember this chest piece being in the beta, but for some reason, Bungie decided to cut it, whether it was due to budget or memory constraints. We will never really know. The article moves on to talk about further customization. Max says, to be clear, we have a lot of ideas for MCC across customization. Finding out what is possible and how that builds in the existing experience is something that they're talking about internally right now, but they're planning for the future to sustain plans for the MCC leading well into next year. Now, that actually is something that I had been worried about. I was honestly going to assume that once Halo 4 released this year, once Season 4 released this year, and they got the big major features in like crossplay, input-based matchmaking, and the field of view models, and bringing some of the PC features onto the Xbox One version, I kind of honestly thought that the game might end up dying off with updates, aside from the rotational weekly playlists. I didn't really expect them to support the game moving too much farther, although now with Halo Infinite being delayed, they really don't have anything this holiday season aside from the MCC. So seeing here that they have ideas, and again, when I talked earlier in the video about them cutting Season 3 kind of in half so that they could then release it later on as a season unto itself, but still connected to Halo 3, it's nice to see that the support is still going to continue on. The question is for how long? Something worthy of note here says, I think that the more interesting customization pieces are going to get looked at in the future and are having ways that they can give more places in the lobbies and menus to showcase your character pre-match and post-match and that kind of thing. So they're looking for ways for you to be able to show off the customization time that you've put in to your Spartan, whether it's in Halo 4, Halo Reach, Halo 3. This almost sounds like they're saying that they're thinking of implementing a social space, much kind of like how Destiny and these other live service games have. I don't know if they would be able to do that. What I'm assuming that they're going to do, and looking back at the original launch of Halo 4 and the player cards, where you would have your Spartan, of course, in the armor that you have customized with the different visor colors and the different armor pieces, and of course the emblems that you have customized, put on a player card that show up in the pregame lobbies when it's matchmaking you with other players. This is something that, one, I thought was brilliant when they did it, and is actually surprised that it hasn't come back. But since they're adding in the ability to have the mix and match customization in Halo 4 with the Season 4 launch, this is something that I could see coming to the MCC. I'm hoping that they don't add a social space, to be quite honest, and that they kind of stick to what makes Halo Halo. It'd be really odd running around a Halo control room with other Spartans as well, waiting for a match to start. That just doesn't feel right to me. Now, of course, moving on in the development update, they start to talk about how things that are upcoming for the MCC are input-based matchmaking and crossplay and possibly regional server selection. And these are things that are coming in on the Halo 4 flight. And of course, they show off again the custom games browser, which this is just a work in progress. One thing that is interesting here that they're showing is the input-based matchmaking, where it's going to have you choose the device, the preferred input device for playing the Master Chief Collection, which is either mouse and keyboard or gamepad. And of course, they're talking about flighting it with Halo 4. I am a controller player, but I do switch when it comes to the menus sometimes in between using the mouse and using the controller. If you're locked into one specific input type, that could cause some problems, and we'll go over that in a different video. But here is, of course, a preview for the input-based matchmaking selections. You also have something in the settings where you're going to be able to have whether you want to do input-based matchmaking or platform-based matchmaking. And this is something that I'm hoping doesn't divide the community. The MCC has a very small but very dedicated online player base that is always online. There's always at least 3,000 players currently right now on Halo, the MCC on PC. I don't know what it is on Xbox. I actually think it's a little bit lower, to be honest. But there are specific times of the day, in the afternoon, maybe in the evening, when I've been trying to complete multiplayer challenges by either playing competitive games or by playing social games. And there's some times where I just can't get a competitive match to complete these, and I just have to try it on another day or later on, a couple hours later. So I don't know how they're going to fix this problem. They really can't afford to divide the player base up any more than it already is. That's what the crossplay is, though, so hopefully that does help mend things. Here, though, when they talk about the flight for Halo 4, the new features that they're going to be flighting, aside from just the Halo 4 multiplayer and campaign, are, of course, customization, Forge Theater, new challenge system, including Challenge Hub screen that'll be available during the flight with the new challenges for Halo 4, Season 4 content, which is, of course, currently to be determined, and input-based matchmaking and crossplay, server region selection, video graphic options currently to be determined based on the flight readiness for Ring 3, and disable text chat option. Honestly, the text chat option gets super frustrating when you're playing and it's constantly popping in and up. To be quite honest, if I wanted to chat with the people that are on a team when I'm playing by myself with a bunch of randoms, I would be wearing a headset for voice chat. I'm not going to be taking my hands off the controller to go onto the keyboard and send out a message. When it comes to campaign and Spartan Ops, they're going to be fighting those, although currently they do not have a list of missions yet. When it comes to the multiplayer offerings, there's of course social games with 4v4, 8-player free-for-all, 12-player infection, and 8v8. It's going to have competitive, and they're still working on the maps and what ranked playlists will be available. And with the following options, you're going to have, of course, controls, video controls, audio, gameplay, networks, and accessibility. We are quickly approaching the end of the MCC here when it comes to at least them adding in new games. But from what I've read here, they plan on updating, adding new content throughout this year and through the better part of next year as well. This is something that I'm super excited for, especially with all the new features that are coming. Hopefully they can develop the Xbox One game in the same way that they've been able to improve it on PC and bring those features in a timely manner to the Xbox version as well. But what do you guys think? Don't forget, in order to be part of the conversation and have your voice heard, hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment in the section down below. If you guys are new around here, check out some of my previous videos. I upload content weekly. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. I've got my social media. Monetary support for the channel is in there as well, if that's something that you're able to do. And until next time, everyone, thank you all for joining me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next video.
Flank defense. Enemy flank